I get it. Albaka.
Important.
Cartoon for Bolong Blabe.
56 branches smaller sort of Gambia jam.
Huh?
Gambia kono anin Gambia bantala bankol. Nka kono kia belet. Kodo sifa fo falindiro fo nyaadi lafta memmen na kodi to poto nin kodi maraw. Jannam number 1 di nyonta. Andum fana nata another enterprise sotale. Wolam nyindi ko domorol fana kol fana be firale le dadi man domorol dir fana beteat. Gambia dawda yalo ngam fa kendol sotale je.
Wo moyo diat.
Apelenta
baraka ba. Ni lafta nyelen kendol e bina.
Yalo bukani la ko la baraka ba.
Yalo ndel chosano lo.
Abaraka.
Of owning your dream homes, EJ Investment is here for you. Secure our quality bungalows with 2, 3 or 4 bedrooms, or our story buildings 3 or 4 to 5 bedrooms at very affordable prices with flexible payment plans at our Sanyang Seaview Estate, where you can enjoy the cool breeze with modern infrastructure such as tar roads, covered drainage system, modern electrification with street lights, gated entrance with security posts, and social amenities such as gas station, shopping mall, medical clinic, park, schools, children daycare, and a lot more. Our dedicated team of professionals will keep the estate clean at all times, provide security and patrol team within the estate premises, install latest technologies such as CCTV, Wi-Fi, home network installation, solar panel, and power backup system. Also, check out for our additional home facilities and interior design service such as premium tiling, wall plaster, home landscape, fingerprint home lock, and a lot more. Visit our office at Senegambia Kololi Highway and get a free site visit tour, or contact us on 4464838. WhatsApp us on 3259220. Or you can visit our Facebook page or Instagram on EJ Investments. EJ Investments, we are first in properties.
Islamic microfinance is becoming an increasingly popular mechanism for poverty alleviation, especially for developing countries around the world. This microfinance service adheres to the principles of Islam as a form of social responsibility. Yona Islamic Microfinance is the Islamic microfinance of choice in the Gambia, trustworthy and reliable. At Yona Islamic Microfinance, we provide savings products, current accounts, financing products in conformity with Islam. In addition, Yona Islamic Microfinance also offers local and international remittances, takaful fund, management of zakat, management of awqaf, trading and investment, and building of strategic partnerships to bring financial services to the doorstep of the poor with donor projects, madrasas, youth organizations, women groups, and farmer organizations. Make a choice with Yona Islamic Microfinance today. For more information on Yona Islamic Microfinance, call 377-2151 or 9832-151, or visit Yona head office at Tipa Garage, Bakote, or visit any Yona branch located countrywide near you.
Hello and welcome to the brunch on Fatou Live. I'm Lamin and it's a big welcome to our weekly current affairs program. This week we catch up with all the latest news in the media for the past 7 days. But of course, Our main focus will be how do we sanitize political language as we approached or as we move near December when presidential elections would be held. Time allowing, we also check on reactions to the Gambia's draw in the African Nations Cup taking place in Cameroon in January. Once again, welcome. Now, today with me to talk on political affairs is Lamin Jammeh. He is the spokesman for the National People's Party, NPP. And I also welcome back once again Modou Faal. He is the leader of the campaign Kaironing Nemoning Kairaba. He is a presidential aspirant on an independent ticket. Hopefully, Mr. Faal, just back from the United States, will give us updates on his campaign's progress as well as his perspective on other issues that we are going to discuss. So, gentlemen, welcome to the brunch. Once again, Mr. Jammeh, welcome.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cham. I extend greetings to all the viewers and audience generally wherever one may be. I salute you all with Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Thank you for having me in this program.
Let me begin with you. A lot of things have happened since you were last here, 2 months ago or so. Then the NPP had just had an executive committee. Even at that time, it wasn't completely filled. For example, the position of deputy party leader, if you like, or deputy secretary general was empty, and I think he's still empty. Also, we had, like I said, a lot of issues that come in the national platform. Let me ask you right now to update us. What is the state of affairs now at the NPP? Recently, we hear that all your structures have now been put in place, regional, constituency, and even ward level now. How prepared now is the NPP?
Thank you for the question. The preparation in terms of structural formation has been for a long time, Mr. Cham. That is not an event for now. The last among them to be formed was actually the National Executive Committee. But prior to this formation, all the other structural committees were formed at the regional level, the constituency level, as well as the ward and village levels. So that is not a recent development.
That's okay. Okay, let's talk on the recent developments. As recent as a few days ago, there have been reports that there were, yes, defections from the UDP, 200 and something from Madiana, and then also there has been a defection of what many people describe as a big wick in one Ramu Sabali to the UDP. How much do you think this is a big loss, if it is, to your party, or gain, if you take the Banyaka defections into considerations? 200 against 1, but then this particular one seemed to be a big fish.
Yes. I will agree with you that there had been defections from and to NPP. As you rightly said, that is no secret. It is an open knowledge to everybody since it was in the media. Ramu Sabali said she had now joined the UDP.
How big was she? What was her position? Was she in the executive? Yes.
Yes, she was in the executive. I cannot remember exactly what portfolio she was holding.
Yes.
But I know that she was in the executive and that she has reasonable influence. That is true, undisputable. All right? But then it is important to appreciate that politics is all about the arithmetic of plus and minus.
She was supposed to be a mobilizer,
all
top
right.
mobilizer.
All
yes.
right. Over any period, if you are willing, ready to become a politician, low as your knowledge in mathematics may be, it is important that fundamentally you understand the arithmetic of plus and minus. And that for this reason, one must not be sitting on concern, but one must always be out to increase one's numbers in terms of mobilizing the outsiders to come to the party.
She was supposed to be also PRO for the women's wing.
Okay.
She was considered to be highly rated to be a big wig in your party.
Certainly.
So you do not think her defection really means a lot to your party?
It might mean something. It depends on the rating you give to Ramu's influence. But given the fact that Ramu had moved, means something to the NPP. All right? But this is politics, as I said earlier on. Conditions, internal and external influences will continue to play.
Okay.
And until the 4th of December, these movements are likely to continue, you know, crisscrossing between parties.
Okay.
But where you have a loss of one in terms of numbers, and you have an addition of 217 in arithmetic terms, actually there isn't any loss for the NPP.
Yeah, but when you
in qualitative terms,
yes, that's right.
It might mean something, but then taking the minimum that a democratic system is determined by numbers, makes us very comfortable when we had lost one and had been increased by 217.
Now, well, you talk about the qualitative and the quantitative term. Of course, election is about numbers. If the people in Banyaka, some 200 of them, faithfully pledge loyalty to the NPP, and then they will vote for NPP, that certainly is really a remarkable progress. Yeah. But then, when you have executive members of the party leaving, that suggests a disagreement of some sort. Do you believe in what your critics said? There might be some internal differences within the NPP, because only that can lead to exit of an executive member. I know no small boy or no small or rank and file can make an executive member to move out. There certainly must be something serious that he or she, in this case C, disagreed with. Is there any suggestion that there might be an internal wrangling?
No. What actually motivated the movement, I wouldn't know.
Oh, yeah.
But I would know that certainly it must be a condition that warranted her to move.
I see.
All right? And ordinarily, it is human for one to expect that probably Ramu was not as satisfied as one would have thought. That is the thing.
All right. Let's talk now about these reported talks between you and the APRC. Well, a lot of your critics, a lot of other Gambians who might not even be your critics, but who really were very much opposed to Jammeh and his ways, they find it incomprehensible that a party like NPP, led by President Barrow, would warm up to the APRC. Because it was the APRC leadership that they said brought us to all these problems in the past. Are you comfortable personally, yourself, given what happened? Of course, I must say that you were even, governor and, etc., and the APRC. So people like you are not going to be very worried. You already have an APRC caller. But then, are you not bothered that people who are really opposed to Jammeh would really be angry with the NPP for trying to seek an alliance with APRC, whom they thought to have been the problem?
You see, Mr. Cham, politics, as I repeatedly have been saying, is all about developing relationship. The more you are able to develop relationship, the stronger you become politically. it is also that field where I would say I saw in one sociology book, an introduction to sociology, they argued that the biggest orthodoxy of one generation can be a subject of scientific inquiry of another. Implying that social conditions are not permanent.
Indeed.
Social conditions are necessitated mostly by environmental factors. And they could change over time. We in NPP, repeatedly I've been saying, are willing and ready to shake hands with anybody, anywhere, so long as your focus is the Gambia's betterment. And we know that the APRC is not an enemy in that regard. Would I be willing to talk about what had actually happened between APRC and the NPP and the recent developments and where they are? For this forum, I will not be willing to go into that much. But in general terms, I am saying that we in NPP are ready to shake hands, and as I suggested in the Peace Talk Show forum at Fatou Network, probably today I have my uncle Mr. Faal. My mother who brought me up is also so named Faal.
Wow.
And probably we will be able to devise a workable formula that will bring a union of the two of us today. Uncle.
Well, you really used the diplomatic language around this much controversial coalition talks between NPP and APR. You said, okay, the NPP is able, is ready to embrace or shake hands with, but you're not just looking for shaking hands. You want the APRC to back you so that you can be re-elected. President Barrow can be re-elected. That's what you're looking for. So people are asking, you don't have any problems with all what the APRC regime had brought to this country. You don't mind about it. By the plight of the people, they have people who lost their lives because of the tyranny, people who were victimized one way or the other, and people, the country was turned into a pariah. Everything that went wrong in the country of 22 years was caused by the leadership of the APRC. And the APRC leadership, up to now, are hell-bent on, one, the return of Jammeh, or some sort of, soft landing for Jammeh. Said your party, headed by President Barrow, who has been brought to power on the wave of much talk about change for progress, is now spearheading the return of the APRC in some way or the other. That's what people found troubling. Not just people opposed to you, but ordinary Gambians. I listen to people.
The return of?
Jammeh.
Okay.
Because that was one of the conditions that the APRC is going about, and they're very proud to say that. You have returned their monies, well, allegedly, and their cash, we have seen that. So that's what people are find troubling, is you don't have any problems with that.
It reminded me of Julius Nyerere's comment,
former president of Tanzania.
On issues of Kwame Nkrumah. On I think the magazine is called Africa.
Yeah, it
New Africa.
New African and Africa magazine.
New Africa.
New African. It's still been published.
He said the small mistakes of great men can be great in themselves.
Small mistakes of great men can be great in themselves. Meaning the mistakes themselves can be great.
Yes.
Okay.
All right?
And what was Nyerere trying to say?
It is human tendency that man by nature must be mistaken because man is imperfect. All right? But then, if the mistake is committed, the effect or the impact of it can be made better by sitting at the table and talk.
Exactly.
Sir Dauda in his book, Kairaba, said, if it is true that every face tells a story,
Every fish.
face
Every face, okay.
tells a story, then listening to the other one becomes necessary in order to resolve conflict. That unless you go to the drawing board, it is difficult. If what had happened in Gambia had really happened, what do we now do to better the situation? The commission had been one intervention that had revealed a lot of things. But as it is named in itself, TRRC, Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission. The underlying objective is that Gambia must be willing to resolve and reconcile.
Exactly.
Okay? So, APRC, it is not only the bad ones that APRC had done. It did a lot of good ones too. To conclude that because it had committed some evil, we must therefore take an uncompromising stand in any relationship with the APRC, I don't think would provide us a sustainable and lasting solution to this scenario.
Okay.
So that is my point.
Good. Let's turn to Mr. Faal. I know you must have listened to Mr. Jammeh, and of course you are not NPP. But of course, as somebody aspiring to hold the topmost job, you must be interested in all the issues going on in the political field. Would your campaign, name one in Kairaba, ever contemplate working with the APRC or any other party, particularly APRC, like he said, in the name of reconciliation? I told him that the main purpose of the NPP actually is not so much reconciliation, but to have the votes of the APRC, no matter what brand or no matter what happened in the past. What do you say?
Well, thank you, Mr. Jammeh, for laying out the foundation for us here. It is truly an honor to share the space with you to talk about the issues. I think that for me, I have to look at things in a broader manner, from the perspective of both victims and citizens who are really grieving, or the past 23 years, what has transpired. The Truth and Reconciliation and Reparation is true. It's a committee that has been set up to reveal whatever the atrocities and the claims to give the Gambian people a sense of reckoning about what really transpired. And this whole thing transpired within the APRC governance. Now, I think that the space of 5 years since APRC got out of government, it is too soon for us to determine, to say, okay, all is forgiven. Because for me, justice have to prevail. Those who have done have been adversely mentioned have to be given a space to defend themselves in justice, and at the same time the victims also have to face those things, to be provided the space for justice, because we cannot deny them justice. I will not consider APRC as a party, an affiliation to APRC as a party. Because right now the conditions that APRC as a party are putting forward is not acceptable. That is, there have been people who are injured by someone who is on exile, who have to come face justice for the crimes that have been revealed. I think it is only sensitive for the victims that we stay away from giving the impression that it is okay, we don't need to get to that justice, we can reconcile. I think it is difficult for us. It is not our position, I should say, and our position to tell somebody who's hurting, it's okay. You know, I know you're hurt, but it's okay. We all can reconcile. I think that people, members of APRC, if we are quoting members of APRC, individuals whom we know that can benefit our party, we can do that. We can go for those people. But as a party, I don't think that it is a wise move. Forgive my language. A wise move to pursue any form of alliance with the party. If I were NPP, what I would have done is to look at individuals who have weight and quote those people into the party. Because nobody is going to say, you are part of APRC, why would you go, this person is part of APRC, why would you go for that person? But as a party, they have a condition. And that condition is, I don't think it will be acceptable for the people of the Gambia, and certainly not for me.
You did not find it, dangerous to your political ambitions when you trying to entertain APRC or President Jammeh, knowing fully well that a majority of the Gambians, at least if the 2016 polls are anything to go by, disagreed with Jammeh. If you are trying to warm up to Jammeh, you're not bothered that you will lose a lot of friends and supporters in that process. You don't see that as a gamble, which is dangerous gamble. Somebody may not be NPP, somebody may not be UDP, somebody may not even be DOI, but they disagreed with Jammeh.
Yes, that is, I think, Mr. Cham, if you can remember what I earlier on said, I said, for this forum, my preparation shall not reach the extent of the relationship formally between the NPP and the APRC. It was a general overview of political relationships that I tried to unveil by citing the APRC as a party that had ever reigned in this country. All right? Information would always remain at 3 levels, especially as a religious person. There is some knowledge that everybody knows or every individual has that shall not be revealed to any other person. There is also some knowledge that can be revealed to some and would not be revealed to others. There is yet another form of knowledge that should be
known by everybody.
Known by everybody. All right? And time factors are also important in all this. That is why I said my preparation for today
will be
remain.
All right, let's talk to the main focus. I mean, people are worried that there is a lot of venom in the rhetoric. You know, if you look at the political discourse, people today insult, castigate each other, blackmail each other. I have a a nude picture of you. I'm going to, release this thing, etc. All those things that doesn't have any importance to politics are all coming into play. I know I blame maybe social media, because in the time there wasn't any social media, these kind of things may not have been possible. But then, shall we not go back and, sanitize our attitude, our words, when we are addressing each other as political opponents? I'm talking about you politicians. How do you think we go by that? How do we go by to make sure that the political message free from insults, blackmail, and etc.?
I am in total agreement with that. And I think we have reached a stage that requires us to critically review the way we are socializing in our society. It is true that social media has some positive impact, but there are a lot of negative impact that it has in our system and in the world over, especially in the developing.
But is that social media or the people using social media? Because
it is both. In my opinion, it is both. Because you see, the advanced world is really advanced. From history books, when Europeans came here to Africa on exploration, at some point they were so surprised that they could not have imagined the form of civilization that they had found in Africa. The social relationship between people, and even the infrastructure that they had found. But only to go back and lay down 100 years plan as how to conquer the world. So my understanding is that whereas the advanced world would always lay down a century plan, we in the developing world tend to be, I'm sorry for the language, but we tend to be myopic in the way we see things, in the way we plan a lot of things. So if two people are interacting in a game, one has 100 years plan, the other one has only a few hours plan, who in the end shall succeed?
Of course, one with a long-term plan.
That is one factor in my opinion. That they are too advanced, and that there is a lot of homework we need to do in our backyard. Two, some of the destruction that they had caused in Africa is to destroy the social fabric. And to some extent, they are succeeding in this too.
Who are succeeding in this? Because the Europeans have gone since.
But it's the same Europeans, the advanced world, Europe and America, I'm saying.
But how can I blame Europe and America for, saying bad things to Papa, insulting Papa or you? What have Europeans to do with that?
It is not to say the bad things one is saying about Papa Faal, but it is about being responsible of designing a system that will create opportunity for such to exist. And sadly, if you look at it,
you cannot blame technology for these things, because technology actually contributes to the advancement of life. I tell you,
if technology
it is the people who use technology badly are to blame, not technology.
If technology does not commensurate to social awareness, it can impact negatively.
But that's what people use it for. That if you use it for something progressive, it will remain progressive.
I am saying that we need to review our social fabric.
Exactly.
Technology, it is through technology that this very fabric is being destroyed beyond repair.
Exactly. Yes.
So technology has a component for blame.
Yeah.
But then much of it would still be under our control. That is why I said it is important at this time that we go and critically review the way we are socializing in our society.
Let's be specific.
So
many people believe these insults actually come from either NPP or UDP. You don't hear much of it from Papa's campaign or GDC's campaign or Doi's campaign, but much of it happened between UDP and NPP. Do you agree to some extent that this is true?
Even though there may not be quantifiable data, one thing we know.
Siaka Jata of the NPP has a quantitative data. He once said he was insulted 700 times.
Okay, but that is only probably to Siaka.
Maybe the number has gone now.
No, I'm saying probably only concentrating on Siaka. But in the system generally, it may be difficult to provide quantifiable data.
But I'm talking about the two camps mainly guilty of this.
However,
NPP and UDP.
However, humanly, when people are in a race, those that are closer to each other have the possibility of the tendency of touching.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah. In that case, you mean the big wigs?
Yes, you know that
the biggest
NPP
rivals. So.
NPP is the biggest party in the Gambia today.
But UDP will disagree with that.
All right, UDP will disagree and say UDP is the biggest. I'm happy that you have raised that.
Yeah, they will disagree.
So that the comparison I'm saying, the relationship I'm saying is now visible on the table.
So these are the two biggest rivals.
Because they are probably the two biggest.
Exactly.
Their chances of touching is greater.
Their chances of
friction.
Tension or friction.
Okay.
So that you want to justify that perhaps that is why there is a lot of exchange of, derogatory languages.
That cannot be used as a justification for that.
Yeah.
I'm only citing this as an example to say how people relate.
Okay.
The common tendencies that exist in groups.
Yes.
All right? However, the way we have been cultured in our cultures traditionally would not have permitted anybody to behave in the way and manner that some people are behaving.
Yeah, there was NCP and PPP, and they were the biggest parties then, but we didn't have these things there. Of course, we all acknowledge that technology, when you talk about, it wasn't existing at the moment. But then there was still microphones and political meetings, but you don't get this type of things.
That is, there tends to be some moral decadency in our system.
And before NCP, UDP and the PPP.
Yes.
Which was even more tense.
Yes. That is why I'm saying there seems to be some moral decadency in our system. In the good old days, politics was about joke.
Exactly.
Where the NCP guys will tell Sadauda's group, Ngunja kanala laure, Nyinam President Bondo te baila. And Sadauda and his group in response will tell them, Niafali Alfanasi Jo, Katungunja musu Nyeleti min subo siata. Until subo siata chalot. That was joke. All right? But then, now what you see is highly undesirable.
Absolutely.
Is unacceptable. I think it is calling for everybody's serious attention and time to ponder over possible solutions. I wish we have.
Papa only last week was addressing this issue. He believed that it is the leaders, the political leaders, who should lead by coming out and addressing their supporters about the need for peace and for, coming out with correct messages that really can address these things. Papa.
Yeah. In every toxic environment, I shouldn't say toxic environment, any polluted environment, there's a reason why those pollutions gets propagated. Like I said last week, I think that my campaign, I always made it clear that there is no room for naming names, name callings, insults, and anything else. If anybody does that, you're out of my campaign. I don't need numbers to degrade myself and degrade my campaigns to that level. What I'm saying is, my suggestion is that the reason why I say leaders have to take on this task, not only through word of mouth, but actions. A leader can stand here and say, well, we always preach peace. We always preach tolerance. But then underneath, you are hearing your supporters insulting and demeaning and saying all sorts of things. I think that the leader, as a leader, your responsibility would be to find out who did it and then perhaps remove them from your party. These are, let's say, for example, a company, Microsoft. Microsoft is one of the biggest companies in the United States, around the world, I should say. They're based on profit. They function on profit. But one single mishap from their leadership
of course, will result in
resignations and their stock price, is because they are going to make sure that their stock prices remain intact. Resignation and recommendation.
Even a slip of the tongue.
Even a slip of the tongue. So I think the reason when I say leaders, we have to actually demonstrate that this behavior is not Gambian. It is not acceptable, and whoever does it, you're not speaking in my name.
Do you agree that it is NPP and UDP who are mainly responsible for this?
I don't, I don't know. I'm not going to call names.
Oh, well,
but what I'm saying
that's what
is,
many people believe in.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, like what Mr. Jammeh said, platforms, social platforms are there for everybody to basically give people to connect. Because if you look at Facebook, how it came to existence, it's from a small social, team that wants to communicate with one another.
Even the internet.
The internet came out like that. So we cannot blame Facebook. We cannot blame the internet for such behaviors. But if you're a part of my team, and then you go out there and insulting people, you will be out of my team. I think that's why I'm saying that leaders have to take the lead. They clean their own messages, first and foremost. Clean your messages, clean your actions, and then trickle those responsibilities down to your followers. That's how we can be able to do this. Because if you, in a home, the head of the household is responsible for whatever goes on in the house, in the compound. So if there is somebody unruly in one of your kids, you have to take steps.
Well, Mr. Jammeh, of course, we will have to single out President Barrow because he is the leader, actually.
Okay.
Well, there might be problematic people in the leadership of the UDP, in their rhetorics, yes. And there have been incidences where people disagreed with what Dabo or somebody else has to say. But recently, President Barrow is quoted as saying that if he does win, he's going to instruct the IGP to refuse, to reject permits and to ban political activity, so to speak. Even though government spokesman and people came to say that he actually didn't mean that, but don't you think this kind of utterances are really not helpful in the very nature of things we are describing? Because they can escalate tension and that kind of, and he being the president. I mean, when I talk, it matters, yes, but if the president talks, it matters most. So don't you think it would be advisable if the president can really his press conferences or his media events can be, confined to given topics, rather than, uncontrollably straying into areas that may not be connected to that topic, and that can result in these kind of things that can be misinterpreted, rightly or wrongly, by opponents to become an issue.
Yes, I've heard you. My take on it is that if President Barrow had meant what some people in the media had reported or elsewhere, there wasn't any force on him to let the government spokesperson make that pronouncement. All right? I think the media has a responsibility in some of these things, in my view. Correct reporting will help the information giver as well as the consumer. Government spokesperson had made it abundantly clear, as we understood from President Barrow, that the information had been misinterpreted and distorted, and therefore called the need for the government spokesperson to make a release.
Yeah, but what aspect of it has been distorted? Because the president categorically said, well, where he mentioned insults in social media, okay, you could say, okay, maybe he's right, or something should be done about that. People are insulting. But everyday political party, we're going to instruct the Inspector General of Police to refuse permits. He said that, and everybody watched that.
No,
that cannot be misinterpreted.
No,
so
that was,
where's the misinterpretation?
I'm saying, Mr. Cham, that was not what President Barrow had meant.
That's what he said.
President Barrow meant, what he had meant was to show the population as the leader that we cannot be preoccupied all the time on nothing but political talk.
Yes.
Let us discourage that. All right?
Okay.
But he did not mean banning political activity at all.
What he said is that this, since the last 4 years, every day there's political meetings, political talks, and insults on social media. He mentioned that. But he later went to say, after December, we are going to instruct the Inspector General of Police to refuse permits for political activity.
No,
I mean, you cannot change that.
No, he did not say that.
That's what he said.
No,
Mr.
Cham,
exactly he said.
Mr. Cham, I cannot see any reason why, if President Barrow had said that
he said that.
If that was exactly what he had said,
exactly that's what
there
he
would
said.
not have been any need for this government spokesperson to come on.
That is why people are taking issues with the government spokesman, telling him that you are misinterpreting what he said.
No, he was clarifying instead of
misinterpreting. That's why people had problems with his clarification, because they're telling him, look, we all had this in the video. You cannot paint it another way. You didn't hear that?
No. I want to.
Don't you think?
I want to disagree.
No,
I want to disagree.
I can play the tape to you. It was in Wolof, and I mean it's very clear. I mean, he's about the social media. Yes, we can understand that everybody is frustrated with it. We've just discussed that. But to say that I'm going to instruct the IGP to refuse permits for this kind of meetings is definitely that brought the confusion. He said that.
Mr. Cham,
yeah.
If that was what President Barrow had
and
said,
that's what he said. I can tell you that that's what exactly he said.
All right, I'm now saying, if that was what President Barrow had said.
What he meant, you said he meant something else.
No, I'm
but
saying.
I don't know, I can disagree, but he said this.
I am now saying,
yes,
if that was what President Barrow had said,
yes,
and subsequently followed by the release of the
government
spokesperson,
yeah,
what do you think must have motivated that release?
That is, of course, to allay the fears of people who have already really taken issues with that statement. I mean, he addressed the diplomatic community. Because, of course, it is implicative. It is definitely very serious if a president said, I am going to instruct the Inspector General of Police to stop people from organizing rallies. The human rights Human Rights Commission will take it up. Civic society took it up. Opposition politicians take it up. And most likely diplomats will be worried. That language is dictatorial. That is why the government was pressurized, compelled to make a clarification. That is why the government...
No,
that's all.
I'm saying,
Yeah.
what do you think must have motivated that then?
Exactly to allay the people that actually what the president said did not mean this.
Okay.
The trouble is, the president should not have said those things if he actually didn't mean them. So I'm telling you, don't you think within the NPP, because this is supposed to be NPP media, it was not GRTS, it was not Standard, it was not Fatou Network, it was not, I mean, it was NPP. If I were NPP media, after every press event with the president, I will use my expertise as a journalist to go through and be able to spot out messages that I think are almost certainly going to lead to misinterpretations, if you like, or are going to raise issues and take them all off. And in fact, I will confine his every week topic on its given topic, knowing who he is.
Okay.
So I think, don't you think within the NPP,
Okay, that is...
you should think more of getting the president's interviews, focus on topics, so that he will not be open to this kind of, trouble.
Okay.
You agree?
It's noted. It's noted. That is noted.
That is that I think.
Yes.
Because they are not helpful. We talk about how tension should be decreased. And if you have a president saying these kind of things, the opposition will take it up and ridicule him or try to make...
Yes, but then for me,
yeah.
The reason why I was asking, what do you think must have motivated? In my opinion, there must therefore have been a change in understanding. And once the realization came that the understanding was different from how it had been said, brought the necessity for corrections.
I think the correction came after the upheaval, after the uproar, after people who really of well-meaning in the society raised concern, like the human rights, what I told you, civic society told you. Well, the opposition, you may say, okay, have an agenda, but these people, the civic society, diplomats, they are concerned. So that's why government was compelled to come out and say, look, there's a need for us to clarify that actually the president did not mean this. But to say he did not say that, well, that's where people have trouble with it. He said it categorically.
The thing is, probably it would be practically not possible to argue that he did not say.
Yeah, that would be
But then,
yes.
The fact remains that he did not really mean how people understood it.
And the fundamental solution is not to say it at all. If it has been said, people who control his media should have the capacity to be able to know that this particular issue can lead to this, can lead to this, can lead to this.
Okay.
Remove it all before it becomes public knowledge.
That is noted. That is noted.
Papa?
Mr. Jammeh,
No?
I listened to that video.
Well, there you go.
And honestly, with all due respect to the president, two things, the body language and the words, I think they could have been cleaned up. A president is not only representing NPP. The president is representing the whole entire nation. Whatever he says represents, it is for us, if it's going to be out. If he goes out in an NPP meetings, he addresses issues that are pertaining to NPP policies towards the people. But I think that I heard it. I was honestly not pleased with it. It is definitely not a good thing coming from the president. That's what I've been saying, that I think leaders, especially the president, must clean up their language, must clean up their behaviors, and must clean up their, however their demeanors.
However frustrated
their demeanors.
They should.
So, because then we're not going to, there will not be a need to come and correct.
Exactly.
Right? See, videos There was a time
Yeah.
when in the U.S. a police officer can shoot somebody,
Yes.
and then you're dead. You put a weapon right next to it. But when videos came,
Yes.
that's when we have
Problems now.
now for the police officers.
Yes, they cannot hide it.
Videos are evidence that
Incontrovertible evidence.
Exactly.
Yes.
It is something that just went viral.
Yeah.
Like all the other videos that came from his messages.
Yeah.
And it causes
You remember,
emotions.
there were messages where he was trying to be humorous and to be jovial, but all those things come out to be, subjects of ridicule.
Yeah.
But the fact is, you can blame the president one way or the other because being human, people have different ways of expressing themselves. But he's supposed to have people responsible for his public events,
images, yeah.
for his public events,
Yeah.
for his media appearance. I mean, for God's sake, confine the topics to given areas, and then of course you'll be able to control interesting and avoid, areas or utterances that is going to lead to misinterpretation.
Yes.
Or that's where the problem.
Yeah, because when it comes from words are like bullets. Once they get out, you cannot take them out.
Especially if they have come from the president.
From the president.
We all know what happened with President Jammeh. He had problems in being diplomatic, using diplomatic language. That also, in fact, caused a lot of problems for him. Mm-hmm. He would sit here and said, the whole world can go to hell, this and this. Those are unpresidential comments. Mm-hmm. You cannot be the president and be fond of uttering those things. Mm-hmm. They are terrible mistakes.
Okay.
You can't.
Yeah.
So those are some of the things, perhaps, lessons.
Okay.
The NPP. Of course, I'm not saying that other politicians are not guilty of this. Yeah, but what makes it serious is because it comes from the president.
Yes, and the fortune of it also is that it is clearly known now
videos
that it was not intended.
Okay.
For any negative.
Yeah, but like he said,
yes,
there wouldn't have been
that.
any
I
need
know
for
that.
correction.
I
if
know
the
that.
messages are clear.
I'm noting that.
Exactly.
Yes, but I'm also adding
Yeah.
that the fortune of it is that, contrary to what people thought that the president had meant, he did not really mean it bad.
No, it would have been difficult because he came through multi-party politics. The constitution guaranteed multi-party, politics.
System.
So if somebody should get up and say, "I'm going to ask the that's not his area. He cannot instruct. He should not instruct the Inspector General to say, "Don't give permit to Queen Jammeh." That would be unconstitutional.
Yes, but you
so
are
he
saying
have said that. So that's where the problem is. Yes. But then, like I said, you noted, of course, that. Moving on now. The political process right now. We had recently the IEC, and all of you are stakeholders said they've come across about 3,000 people who have registered multiple times, not just once or twice. In fact, according to the chairman, some registered 3 times. You talked a little bit about that last week, but you did not blame the IEC. You blamed the people who went around beating the system and trying to register. You said those are the ones who should be blamed. Do you agree with that?
In total.
You agree that it's not IEC's problem, but it's the people who try to beat the system and register in Kiang, then the next day they go to Baribu or somewhere.
No. Whether IEC has to be blamed or not blamed is something I have not reached yet. But then I am saying in total because I equally condemn the practice and the attitude.
Okay.
It is bad.
Yeah.
It is disappointing, and it does not augur well with our system, because it is the individual qualities of citizens that we have that will make up the state. So such practices are evil. They should be condemned outright. Absolutely bad.
So what should the IEC do with them? They suggested they might bring some sort of punishment. For example, either prosecuting, but certainly, of course, deleting them, denying them of the right now to own a voter's card.
Yes, what IEC will do, or what I think, essentially, it will be the dictate of the law, because there should be sufficient legislation, in my view, to take care of that practice. In the event people do this, what do you do with them? And so long as there is sufficient legislation on it, we allow the rule of law to prevail. Yes.
But the issue is now, many people are wondering, why didn't the IEC's much talk about sophisticated system did not detect these things? I mean, there are supposed to be fingerprints, and the duplication of that should be detected. Why is it that somebody went to Rikama registered, and they went to Manjai and registered, and went to State House and registered, and nobody knows?
It was my expectation during the process.
I'm just saying example. Nobody went to State House. Just an example.
Yes.
Yes.
It was my expectation, as I said, during the process, that any attempt of double registration will be immediately discovered in the system. That was what I thought.
Yes.
I was only disappointed that in the end, this information came of double or multiple registration by some people. But my understanding was that it was practically not going to be possible for it to happen. However, because it has happened, IEC is obliged to take the necessary measures according to the dictates of the law.
Papa, you were happy with the IEC, the fact that they have come out to say this happened. You said that is transparent enough. But I still find holes in that. I didn't know where it happened, how it happened. I only know over 3,000 people registered more than once. But where did it happen? How did it happen? That didn't come out.
Yeah. Well, I think that first of all, what I think the general public needs to understand is that to provide computerized registration all the way to Koina and all the way to Wuli and Katong, when our networking systems are not interlinked, we should not expect, I think it is not even possible for IEC to really detect those things during the process. Because every computer, if you look at that, they were standalone, meaning that a laptop has a database in it and is connected with a software to give you the thumbprints. Those thumbprints and everything else, and they get registered in that database.
Okay, they are not at that moment linked with the team in Basse or in Chile.
Yes, they're not. So the chance of someone going to Basse and registering and IEC not knowing, and then the person goes to Brikama and registering and IEC not knowing at the same time, can we make it 10 times? There is no way at that moment IEC will be able to find out. It is only when they all come, download all the information that they got, reconcile in the database, run a query, then they will pick.
I see.
You see? Then they will pick that, okay, this person, they are duplicate names 10 times, duplicate names 3 times, then they will know where they got, they went to register and everything else. So that's why I was saying that we have to commit IEC, because IEC could have just said, this is very embarrassing for us.
Let's just keep it quiet.
Let's just keep it
Let's
quiet.
just delete it and keep quiet.
Let's delete it. They could delete it. And keep it quiet.
And keep quiet,
But the fact that they came out and say 3,000 people, we have a system that people trying to beat this system. We have to commend them for that. Because like I say, if it's where saying that, okay, this is very embarrassing, I don't want Gambian people to talk about this, they can click and then delete.
And nobody would know.
Nobody will know. But the fact that they came out and say it, I think we have to commend for them. And then they don't really, the system that they have in our infrastructure, I don't think it is possible for IEC to have a real-time registration process.
Like to detect things real-time. No. You be in Basse and know what's happening in Katong.
No, it's not going to be possible.
It's only when the data are compiled together.
Compiled, yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. That's
right.
Yes.
You're right. They need to be commended then. Yes, for being transparent to a degree. Yes.
Okay. Moving on, still with the IEC, we have 4 months, basically 4 months to go. We know there is going to be we are still in a pandemic. I know, of course, in the Nyamina East and Kerr by-elections, they were delayed, purportedly because of the pandemic. Well, we're hoping, of course, the numbers, and the scale of the pandemic goes down. But do you see it for any moment, think that the campaign will be affected? Or rather, the regulations that may be put in place, for example, there is now said to be a third wave, will affect the campaign. Do you think there will be?
The pandemic affecting the campaign?
Yes, because the campaign starts in November.
Yes.
We have 2 months basically to go.
Generally, the protocols of the pandemic do not tend to be in conformity with our cultural systems, most parts,
yes. The preventive measures.
Yes, yeah. And this is imposing serious challenge. Whereas the culture provides for these conditions, the protocols are calling for a different thing altogether.
Yeah.
So that with or without political campaign,
we still have
there is
problem.
that problem in our cultural arrangements. All right. 2,
and even religious arrangements.
Okay. 2, I don't know what remedial measures parties may finally adapt to, but I don't foresee the chance of campaign being delayed or not happening because of the pandemic.
From what we have seen, I don't think the politicians...
Life must go after all.
The politicians will be the last person to to accept it. Papa, would you cancel a rally in consideration of COVID rules?
That would be very difficult.
But Joe Biden campaigned, virtually with nobody, and he won.
Yeah.
When Trump used to go with crowds at airports and shouted, "We have to open up."
But systems
Joe
are
Biden,
different.
Joe Biden went with very few people. Yes, he won.
What I will suggest, and I think I'm very, very convinced that if political party leaders are able to convince their members to go and get vaccinated.
Yes, they can join.
You see what I mean?
Yes.
Promote a campaign to vaccinate, pushing that, for us to be able to gather together, we encourage you go get
he really
vaccinated.
Hit a point that the medical authorities will be very happy about. If you as political leaders said, okay, anybody coming to this NPP rally must come with a vaccination certificate.
Yeah.
You wouldn't do that.
Probably you cannot do that.
It will be difficult. It will be difficult. There are always going to be people that will resist because they don't believe in it. Yeah. But I think that this can motivate people to go and get vaccinated, because politics, as you say, being a party member, it's an emotional thing.
Yes.
If your party leader say, "Let's go get vaccinated,"
people will follow.
People will follow.
I think that's a good
so
point.
we should encourage that.
Yes.
And it will also be tough. You could encourage also that if you're doing a rally, political parties can really sacrifice and buy these masks going around and passing it, Well, we cannot stop political rallies because it's the constitutional mandate.
I see the people trying to, but they only do it when people have already got it.
Yeah.
And it should be before they got it.
Yeah, but it should start now. I have always been saying on Twitter, if you follow my account, I'm always pushing for people to go get vaccinated. It doesn't take much.
Yeah,
I got vaccinated with AstraZeneca. Now we have the Johnson & Johnson. It's just one shot.
Jab, yeah.
Just go and get it.
Yeah.
Whether you believe it or not. What is really scary for me is that we are hearing this polio outbreak, the 3 cases.
Polio,
this is very, very serious.
Polio resurfaced. polio come
something
back.
that had been eradicated.
Yeah.
So that tells me that people are not following the regulations for their early vaccinations, because there are vaccinations. These are vaccinations.
Yes,
that
polio
are
vaccination have been around. Immunization have been around.
Well, it is mandated for every child to have it. So what is going on?
Why is it coming back again?
Why is it coming back?
It is really,
so
really
I think the
potential
health
to injury now. When you have the pandemic and then you have
the health
polio
officials
coming back.
must take swift action and find out if whoever is not, every child, if you're not vaccinated, force their parents to go get vaccinated, because polio is a very dangerous virus. It can cause havoc for us.
Okay, finally, let's have updates from the NPP. Going forward now, what is the latest in your strategies? Those you can talk about here, because like you said, there are already areas that you cannot discuss.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Cham, I think you are aware the recently concluded rallies, the Banyaka, the Banyaka rally. Apart from this, on the 28th, we are preparing a mega rally.
Wow.
Yes.
A mega one. Where will that?
Yes, Fonyi.
In Fonyi?
Yes, in Fonyi Bondali.
Oh, Fonyi Bondali. I'm not surprised that is the base of the APRC. So you
everybody is welcome.
The president will go there. The party leader will go.
Everybody is invited. We are inviting the party leader himself.
Oh, are you inviting him or he is inviting people? Who is inviting who?
The political management should be able should send invitation. You see, being the party leader does not necessarily mean that there are managers who are managing the politics
on paper.
So,
all right, that will be in Bondali.
That is one. Yes.
Bondali district or Bondali village itself? Bondali village.
Yes.
Okay.
Apart from this, there are a series of programs in the pipeline too. That will come for national convergence of the whole country by representation, of course, where the party leader would share a lot of, opinions, specific messages on the quality of membership, some of the prevailing things undesirable in social media, and a lot more that he could interact with the people and share his position with them. These are some of the things in the pipeline, and of course to express with happiness that given the delivery power of the NPP, numbers are multiplying.
Wow.
So
really?
And victory is assured, inshallah.
On December 4th.
Yes.
You agree with that? Papa is laughing that off.
No, it's okay. Where is your list again? The list of your members.
Executive members.
No, not the executive members.
Oh, you mean?
I'm talking about the people.
Your
members. I want to have it so I can start calling them.
There are so many that you cannot
I want to call them and just intervene.
There are so many that you cannot count.
Okay.
Mr. Jammeh,
I'll provide you with it.
Oh, that's good. But yeah, tabarakallah.
So what is your campaign doing now?
See, this is the beauty of democracy. Political rallies, having fun. That's how it's supposed to be. You go to Bondali, I could come to Bondali and cheer for you.
Wallahi.
That's at the end of the day, we are all the same people. Gambians, we are all the same people. You belong to the same Gambia.
Absolutely.
Political parties, or not political, we still have the same Gambia.
Exactly.
Okay. For us, we, like I said before, we were doing on our faces like the greetings of going around the country, greeting the elders. We are anticipating that we are completed. But I think we have a few more to do. We will continue that. That's our phase 1. Yeah. But phase 2 is starting already. On the 4th of September, we are doing a huge fundraising with Tata Dinding in Brikama at Star B.
Stabi. That's
Stabi.
a new place in Britain.
Yeah, so Stabi is a new place,
Okay.
and it's like a theater, and we are asking everybody to come,
Okay.
including
Even Mr.
NPP.
Jammeh.
Come in and support us. Okay. And then after that, we will move forward to do another campaign. We're planning a huge rally also in Brikama and the other places.
Wow.
So we are moving.
Yes.
We're moving.
And for NPP this weekend is going to be in Jokado.
Jokado, which village?
No. Munyagel.
Oh, Munyagen.
Yes.
Wow, and that will be big,
Munyagel,
as you
yes,
said.
big one.
Okay.
Yes.
Am I invited? I'll send the report.
You are.
Okay.
Our secretary, Diaspora Affairs, Maimuna Sise Dabo,
Okay.
has been adopted. Yes.
Oh, is one calling the meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's going to be a big one.
Wow. I wish I can go there. Fantastic. Lamin Queen Jammeh, the spokesperson for the National People's Party, and with him, of course, is Papa Faal, the leader of the Kaironing or
Nemoning Kairaba
campaigns, who we expect will be an independent candidate for the elections. On behalf of these two gentlemen, I thank you very much for following us on the Brunch on Kerr Fatou Live. I'm Lamin Cham. I will be back next week. Goodbye for now.
Gamcell data, now even better. Enjoy 20% extra data on all Gamcell data bundles. Buy 20 megabytes and get extra 4 megabytes. Buy 50 megabytes and get extra 10 megabytes. Buy 100 megabytes and get extra 20 megabytes. Any amount of Gamcell data bundle you buy, you will receive 20% extra data for free. Dial *302* data amount hash or go to your Yaiborom menu and choose your data bundle now. Gamcell data is fast, lasts longer and very reliable. Gamcell Yaiborom.
For all your pastry, bakery and quality food, CK Restaurant is the only place to be. We do catering for birthdays, weddings and all related services. We have all kinds of local foods, American, European and even beyond. Come and have a taste of our local juice, ebe and other services. At CK Restaurant, customer satisfaction is our priority.
We live in a day and age where technology is creating a world without borders, filled with unlimited potential to improve the lives of the people around us. Innovarex Global Health ushers in a new way of leveling the playing field with increased access to quality healthcare services delivered at your doorstep. Our qualified professionals are equipped with state-of-the-art point-of-care testing technology to conduct tests such as kidney function, liver function, electrolyte tests, body composition, hemoglobin, A1C, and many more services with the highest efficiency in delivering results. The addition to our flagship Wellness on Wheels, more fondly known as WOW Delivery Service, brings the entire clinical experience full circle. IGH has remained committed to creating the future of healthcare delivery. Gone are the days of sending loved ones outside the country for basic medical services. Innovarex Global Health offers a new peace of mind and takes pride in delivering the quality of care we all deserve.